타던에 생긴 단계 산지의 공부 토벌기업의 주로 다른 Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye Insegnamenti Lhawang Tashi Shadam
So in order to bring all sentient beings to attain liberation and enlightenment, we are going to go to the text, which is known as advice given to Lhawang Tashi by Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye. First of all, good morning to everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
You all have the text?
No.
You have it in your phones? No. Did you send to everybody? No.
Page number 3.
The English text.
Inji ki page number 3 nanda. Page 3. Window 3. Yingcheng Xiba la. Lama Yingcheng Xiba. Hotline. Lama Chur Chonoge. Simi Lama San. Window 3.
So it says here in the text, you don't need to search outside for the Guru. The nature of mind is the enlightened Guru.
Page? We don't know.
It's page 2 in it.
2?
In English.
Okay, thank you.
Is Moita coming back?
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Because anyway now nobody can receive the email, so she can do this during lunch break.
But I think we mostly have it.
Now it's okay? So since it says you do not search outside for the Guru, the nature of mind is the enlightened Guru, the same goes for the text. Do not search for the text outside. Venerabile says, I've never studied any texts. Venerabile says, in my whole life I have not studied any text written in black ink on white paper. After that he said, all the appearances are a text for me. So while we were looking for the text, Rinpoche read the entire text once. So maybe it's good if we can all read together. So maybe we can begin by reading the text once in English together. So you also
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so we can read it slowly. While thinking of the meaning, like it's kind of a meditation of contemplating on the meaning of the text. So I will read it slowly and you read it together with me. I take refuge in Padmasambhava, O Kajagurus, please turn the minds of faithful ones towards the Dharma. May we embrace the path of liberation beyond return. Atisha, the protector of the snowland, said, among many is familiar speech. When you stay alone, examine your mind. Briefly, without these two lines. The mind is the root of faults, and the mouth is a gateway for these faults to emerge. Thus, always watch for the world. All of samsara and nirvana are your mind. They don't arise from anything else in the slightest. Everything such as joy and suffering, good and bad, high and low, are conceptual constructs of mind. If your mind is pure, you are Buddha. Wherever you reside is a pure realm. Whatever you do is from the state of the Dhamma. Whatever appears is the true display of wisdom. If your mind is alone your nature, you will see faults even in the Buddhas. You will get angry even in your parents. Most things will appear as if they were your enemies. Expectation, fear, attachment, and anger will continue unabated. Such things is ways to drive away. Whomever you associate with, there will be discord, and wherever you stay, it will be uncomfortable. However much you own, you won't be content. For everything you accumulate, you need that much more. Being distracted again and again by the appearances of this life, even if you think about practicing Dharma, you'll waste your life caught up in present activities. At first, when you feel a sense of renunciation, you feel like you've rid of each and everything you own. Once you become intractable, you cling to needles. At first, when you feel a sense of devotion, you won't think of anyone except your Guru. After a while, you will have wrong views. At first, when you feel a sense of faith, your spiritual practice will pile up one on top of the other. As you get older, all of this fades away. Whenever you find a new friend, you value their life more than your own. Once your enthusiasm fades away, you'll be upset with them as if they were your enemy. The root of all this is not taking your own mind to be paramount. If you are able to make use of your mind, then you don't need to search for some other place of retreat. When concepts are absent, that is your retreat. You don't need to search outside for the Guru. The nature of mind is enlightened Guru. You don't need to worry about other spiritual practices in Buddha. Being without distraction is the heart of spiritual practice. You don't need to deliberately abandon distractions. If your mindfulness is firm, things are spontaneously created. You don't need to fear that they will occur. If you recognize their nature, it is primordial wisdom. Except for this momentary mind of yours, samsara and nirvana are not established in anything else. Please always watch over your mind. Unless mind is staying within, our antagonism will be inexhaustible. If you take anger within, all enemies on earth will be pacified. If contentment does not arise within your mind, even if you have everything you could ever want, you will be made like a beggar. Those who are content and living always rich even without possessions. When you accomplish all some worldly activities, such as Dharma or the virtues, habitual tendencies arouse the most joy. This causes you to get further the higher realms. That is almost permanent is the samsara. When you look in the essence of joyful feelings, you see they are empty, and this is the cause for the path of liberation. Suffering arises from unwholesome spiritual development or deficiencies. If you follow after thoughts and afflictions such as hatred, anger, and desire, it will cause you to give birth to spiritual backgrounds. To be born in any way brings us about unimaginable torment. Whatever afflictions or suffering occurs, when looking at the essence, they vanish into emptiness. There is no way for wisdom to work from that state. You must separate your mind from this, and always regard your mind as critical. The entirety of the Dharma is encapsulated in guarding your mind. The Bodhisattva Shantideva spoke of how to guard your mind. For those who wish to guard their minds, this is brought about by mindfulness and introspection. As is said, all should diligently guard their minds. I fold my hands in reverence for such persons. To practice in accordance with that here is critical. That being so, the sixth collection of consciousness on all appearing objects
but simply the magical display of man's nature. Thus, it is a mistake to change them from attention to practice, adoption, and rejection. Even though taking things to the heart as an equal taste of spring, for the beginner, let your view be high, and your practice precise. As it is said, the human form with its disadvantages is hard to find. Thinking over and over about that as impermanence, give rise to certainty about the infallibility of karma and its effects. When you see or hear of another's death, know it to be a warning for you. When you notice a change in someone, recall that everything is permanent. When you catch sight of these with the coming, no possessions are necessary. When you see a house or many senses empty, consider it as your own home. When you see others that parted ways with their friends, recall your own close relations. When something happens to others against their will, remember that such things will happen to you as well. Self and others and everything is the same. There isn't even the slightest thing which is truly established. When you maintain the natural state of existence, without falling or fabricating your mind, the emptiness of holding and out of phenomena is realized to be the silent union of clarity and emptiness. That is the ultimate Buddhista. Migrating beings who do not realize this wander in samsara under the influence of dualistic apprehension. Limitless and unmotivated compassion naturally arises for those who undergo such. This is relative Buddhista. Without grasping at compassion, realize its emptiness. Compassion, the spontaneous energy of emptiness, will emerge. Union is the essence of the teachings of Sutra and Mantra. You should engage in this profound practice. The method of having such things arise in your mind stream is to accumulate the wealth of merit, take all into your own hands. Pray to the rituals, take devotion to the Guru as the vital point. Encourage yourself and others for the order of learning, and however you can, engage in virtue. Do not separate yourself from the Buddhista with good example, not from your dedication or your method. The spirit of practitioner knows Lhawang Tashi, an old yogi who does nothing but eat, sleep, and defecate, composes his spiritual states for the Vita. It merges mind and person whose magnificent qualities are the maximum. May your Bhagavad lives the master Dhamma, and may you all benefit this instantaneously accomplished. Sarvanam Virasana. So, the Buddha says now you all understood the meaning of this text. Because it is very clear. It's true. The meaning of the text is very clear when you read it. So this is how Rinpoche felt when he read this text, and he noticed that this text has two particular qualities. One is that when you read it, it is very easy to understand the meaning. And the second quality is that if we put this text, if we apply it in our practice, it has very clear practical benefits for our mind. So, yeah. So there is a practical benefit to our mind. So it can help both our practice of Dharma and our daily life.
Lhawang Tashi,
So the first thing to mention is that the person who requested this teaching his name is Lhawang Tashi, and the person who gave this teaching is Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye.
이나야 다 다른 맞어 디 친인지 값소 아 그냥 로드 타이기 디샤바지 나서 내가 또좀 지어봐 나도 또좀 지어봐지 나서 많이 해도 좀 나서 그래.
But Rinpoche says actually the way we look at this here is that this text was composed by Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye for us, for each one of us to put in practice.
예. 근데 로드지에 하나 줄봐. 콩기 디샤바지 그래. 나서 내가 봐 로드지가 나지 선나는 이거다.
So Rinpoche says we should not think that this is something Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye wrote and this is something we should study.
그래서 근데 나도 정말 대단한 것도
Because just by reading it we all pretty much understand it, right?
근데 인자다 소소한 게 봐. 정말 단계 뒤하기 위해서 선택.
So we have to imagine that we have through thinking about this we have written these things.
이번에 그 계층보다
So it's important to look at it in this way.
다다디 센데 소소 포커스가 다다 로트가 봐. 예.
And then we will be able to focus our mind.
이마도 신바지기 디제제 나들 로준치기 있으디 가서 직 참선 때 이겐다 오시라 매대지로 다 소소 뒤로는 다문에 이게 여러 다 지들에가 상담한 게 봐.
So because if somebody else is reading this or teaching this and we are just listening or studying this, then we will not put that much attention. Then we will not take that much responsibility when listening. But if we imagine that we are writing down, we are writing things the way they are, it feels more personal. We feel like we pay more attention to each word.
가시 나한테 소소 뒤로 말하다. 다들 문에 소소 고추도 다 뒤쪽으로 나서 말이야.
So some of these things we might not be able to write them or compose them, but once we understand, then we can do it. It's possible.
네. 이나야 딱 이거 소소 말이냐 봐. 다 미기 다 로드 타이기 간댔으니 그래 봐. 너무 뒤도 찍다 말해.
So before ourselves writing the text down, we can try to examine how did Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye write it.
근데 이제 jamgön 로드 타이 거라 노디슈나 간댔지 봐.
So maybe it's good to say a few words about who Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye was.
jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye 아니 디라 주급이는 준비돼 기우시레스.
He was a master who lived in the 19th century.
다 유엔난지다 기후 당바신 놈이 다 쏨쏨 멍쇼베레스.
And he was probably a master who composed the largest amount of scriptures among all the Tibetan masters.
네 콩 펩차비 지라 베진한테 까지 지부만 베진한테 껴용라 아베트 춤을 차요. 네.
So Rinpoche says when he was alive, during his lifetime, the Tibetan Buddhism, not only the Kagyu lineage, but all the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism were kind of improved and expanded and Rinpoche said updated. And sometimes they call it, he caused like a renaissance in the Tibetan Buddhism during his lifetime.
근데 인상 딱 콩기 소중지를 로마지로 딱 벽을 로마지 넣니 딱 주진 담는다고 상막이 딱 로마세고 근데 용이 넣니 딱콩 지부다 사기니까 주지가 사기 되니까 상막 변보다 제바지 로마 용이지 여러분 네.
So all the disciples in all the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism, the source, the first guru, among the first guru is Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye, the source of all lineages. And he was the one who has the biggest number of disciples. Because, for example, if one lama belongs to the Kagyu lineage, most of his disciples will come from the Kagyu lineage. But Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye was not like that. And even he had many disciples in the Bön tradition. So his life story was quite extraordinary. He lived to the age of 87, and if we look at all the texts that he composed, we feel that he spent all his life composing text, because he composed so many that it would require an entire lifetime to do that. And then if we look at all the retreats he has done, all the practices he has done, we think that he spent all his life practicing in retreat, that he didn't compose a single text because there would be no time to do that, given how many practices he did. And then if we look at all the empowerments he bestowed, we feel that he spent all his life giving empowerments. He didn't give any teachings, anything else. All his life he was only giving empowerments. And same if we look at all the teachings he gave, we also feel that he spent all his life giving teachings. He didn't do anything else. And then if we look at all the pujas, all the rituals that he did, we think that how strange, probably it looks like he spent all his life doing pujas. So somebody who is not familiar with Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye, when they read his life story, they may feel that it's impossible that one person accomplished so much in one lifetime. So if we look at all his activities, we think that he probably lived in a huge monastery with thousands of monks sitting on a high golden throne. But actually when he was doing all that, when he was composing all his texts and treasuries, he was just staying in a small wooden hut. So he lived all his life in a very simple way, the entire life. And he was saying, he always said that since he was a small child, he always wished to do retreats. And at the age of 20, he came to Palpung and became a monk there. And the monasteries, they have a discipline, so whoever is a monk in that monastery, they have to follow all the activities that all the other monks do, so everybody has to study the same text and so forth. And in the monastery, if the lunch is served at noon, everybody has to gather at noon and eat lunch. Nobody has a chance to say, "Oh, I'm not that hungry. I'll eat at 1." And since he wished to practice in retreat, and he found that he's not able to do that if he stays in the monastery, so then he requested permission from Centro to do retreat. So first, Centro did not give permission. He told him, just wait a little bit, stay a little bit more in the monastery, do some more studies. No need to hurry with doing retreats. And when he was 30 years old, then he again requested permission to do retreat. So at that time, Centro gave him the permission to do 3 years of retreat. And then he went to do retreat in the hermitage above Palpung, which is known as Centro. So that's what his wish was, to do retreat there. It was just a forest there, there was nothing there. But there is a story how he got to do retreat in that forest there. So Rinpoche would like to tell this story tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, sure.
Because there is some connection to what is happening tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, there was a tanka which was going around on the internet, kind of being shared. An old tanka. And then on that tanka, there is one master at the center of the tanka, and most people, nobody knew who it was. And then there were many lamas around, and then most people recognized those lamas. But the one at the center, like you can see, most tankas have one figure at the center, so that nobody knew who that was.
이거 하고 민주와 민주는 파지 기세나 다 같이 다 로드 타이 인사했어.
So then when there were lots of discussions and people, those who were more knowledgeable about these things, they examine and find out, and most of them they said it must be Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye.
이 가르치는 특히 이 예나 오당도 참마나 아주 여기 주디 참마게 라마 따친거 짱짱들.
Because all the lamas, all the other figures of the Tankas were lamas from all traditions of Tibetan Buddhism. All the great masters from all traditions. So in Tibet, when they paint Tankas, they don't just paint them like that. There has to be a very strong connection between the central figure and all the lamas around. You don't just put some lamas on the Tanka and that's it. So, yeah, based on all the surrounding figures, then one can determine that the one at the center is Lodrö Thaye. But the Lama at the center, he had 3 eyes. But they were saying that Lodrö Thaye did not have 3 eyes. So, so everybody is confused. So everybody feels it needs more research. And some, when they examined the Tanka, when they looked at the posture, the sitting posture, which was a little bit unusual, the way the eyes, the gaze was a little bit unusual, and also the head was a little bit unusual. So some of them said it must be Dolgopa Sherabjagten. But Dolgopa also did not have 3 eyes. And also he did not have that much connection with the lamas of all traditions. So the outcome of all the research is that it must be Lodrö Thaye, because of the way he was, even though he was sitting the way Dolgopa usually sits, but he was surrounded by the lamas of all traditions, and also the 3 eyes and everything, so they came to the conclusion it must be Lodrö Thaye. So because how they decided is because Lodrö Thaye did have many disciples. So since all the lamas were with Tanka, then it must be him. So then if they wondered why is he sitting in the way that Dolgopa is usually sitting. And this is because his view is the Shentong view. So do you know what is the Shentong view?
Okay. Oh. You don't need to touch it,
So in 2024, when Rinpoche was teaching about the Heart Sutra, he spoke about emptiness. We talked a lot about of emptiness on the example like a table. So when we speak about emptiness, then the main view that we talk about is the Madhyamika view.
cái gặp số ôm mà là rong tông bằng hiện tông nhiều rồi, tôi nghĩ là các anh đâu, tôi nghĩ cái hiện tông đâu nhiều rồi.
So there are two different ways of understanding emptiness. So Madhyamika has two kinds of Madhyamika. One is the Rangtong and one is the Shentong.
Thì không hiện tông sẽ nhiều vậy chứ, thế này tôi sẽ cái hiện tông kita
So since Lodrö Thaye was one of the main proponents of the Shentong view, and the Shentong view originated from Dolgoba, so that's why they figure out that Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye is sitting in the posture of Dolgoba because this was his main view. There's a small story connected to that. So the 8 Thai Situ Chogi Jungna. So he, at the beginning when he was young, he was more following the Rangtong view. And then after he converted to Shentong. So it is said that he accepted the view of Shentong in front of the Bodhanath Stupa in Nepal. Because the Bodhanath Stupa is very strongly connected to the 8th Thai Situ because he renovated it. And that's also the reason why when the earthquake in 2014-15, I don't know, damaged the Bodhanath Stupa in Nepal, it was the present Situ Rinpoche that renovated it.
Ini kalian daun Himalaya, ini sudah dalam kerja ini cuma nak semua orang ini kalau nyanyi, cuy aku cuma kau sanggup cuma, tapi kau sanggup cina nak share.
So in the previous month, Guru Vajradhara Situ Rinpoche was in Nepal and he went to do a big prayer gathering in front of the Bodhanath Stupa, and Rinpoche was very fortunate to be able to join that gathering. So he says he just wants to share this.
Yeah. Ini kau sudah junjung berapa? Ini kau tahu macam kau ya lama hece aja. Kau ni Rinpoche lah sih, tapi jangan diri ni sungguh. Sintang kita awak cari siapa ina? Sengkeh mungkin pun terus. Jadi sungguh terus, tapi jadi logik sih ada. Mungkin ni sungguh ini jodoh jangan pun kita ni tahu di sintang cari siapa ini sungguh terus.
So the story is when the 8th Thai Situ was in front of the Bodhanath Stupa. With him was one of his teachers, one of his masters, Kato Tsewan Norbu, one of his main teachers, and Kato Tsewan Norbu told him that if he accepts to practice the view of Shentong, this will benefit many beings. And in the 8th Thai Situ, because of the circumstances and everything, he accepted the view and said from now on he will hold the view of Shentong.
Tadi ni, tadi sini cuba, lalu dah tadi sini saya cuba insan ini tahu baju kan saya pilih, sebab.
So Jamgön Lodrö Thaye also he also practiced and propagated the Shentong view. So that's why in that tanka he was depicted in the posture of the Dolgoba, who is the source of the Shentong view.
Ni kung dia dah cium dia dah cincin kan dia cari sana.
So now about the 3 eyes.
Tadi nagi terasa, cina balas. Tapi yang tu beli mesti lah. Ni terasa tak. Ini kita fun lagi mereka. Berapa fun sih ni terasa saja.
So just for fun, he wants to give an idea. Not very serious.
다시 가야겠어요. 그래서 무슨 공원 무슨 로진 여러 장 쓰려고 되게 주바이 인생이고 로진 여러 장인데 그런 산진 넘버 오늘 뒤지게 산진 넘버 나한테 이미 인자 내 공기 오늘 오늘 매나야 같이 주바이를 준비도 내가 진 내가 지금 이거로 다이가 되게 뒤지.
So Kipils is the reason why Jamgön Lodrö Thaye is depicted with 3 eyes is because he is an emanation of the great translator Vairochana, who is an emanation of the Buddha Vairochana. So to symbolize that, then probably he was depicted with 3 eyes.
나서 근데 다 네 뭐라 아무데 그룹 배마 다쳤지 숨송과
So the first line in this text, it says, I take refuge in Padmasambhava.
다 나기 정된 도시상에 로카시는 까르지나 까르지나 가르송 곳에나 고르를 붙이 별을 펴면은 별라 남빈 답게 빨리 가고 있어요.
So Guru Vajradhara told him a few years ago in a teaching that if Guru Rinpoche did not come to Tibet, probably the Buddhism would not be able, the Buddhism would not flourish in Tibet.
고르를 붙이 해나 시간이 야라게 키바치 뭐 다시 태우고요.
Before Guru Rinpoche, there were some great Indian masters who traveled to Tibet.
이거는 뭐 teaching 뭔가는 있어요.
And they gave many teachings in Tibet.
배가도 다른 일로 싫어하지.
The Tibetans were not that interested.
디나는 같이 한번 돼서 다른 얘기지만
Definitely the campus were not convinced.
Yeah.
And then later, Guru Rinpoche came to Tibet. And then when Guru Rinpoche came to Tibet, he displayed all kinds of miracles and all kinds of miraculous powers and manifestations and everything. So the Tibetans, they have no choice but to accept Buddhism because they were so impressed by his miraculous displays. So Padmasambhava or Guru Rinpoche is actually the one condition which was responsible for the Tibet to become Buddhist. For Tibetans to become interested in the Dharma. But actually just from somebody coming there and showing some miracles and people being kind of amazed by that, this is not enough to establish Buddhism, right? So actually the miraculous displays, they were just the first step, and once the people were interested, then Guru Rinpoche also taught them the Dharma and made them study, practice and everything, so that's how it became stable. So, and then due to these efforts, then they started to translate the kanjur, all the Buddha's words. So it took almost 1,000 years to translate the entire kanji into Tibetan. So Rinpoche says probably they started around the 8th century and completed it in the 17th century.
근데 이제 전에 다시 뭐를 신이나 되니까 야가 개발진 것도 그쪽이 전에 숨쉬는 나와서 전에 신이 단 얘기 차도 신이 얘기 차 전에 야고 좀 봐요.
So at the time of Guru Rinpoche, then people became interested also in what the masters who came before were teaching. Only at that time they became interested.
그랬더니 오늘 기다 단 남주세 로종 제고 로종 맞나? 되게 민도세 되는 것보다 하고 되는 로종 제들이 지우다 뭐 거죠.
So they understood, they realized that actually the Dharma it is something interesting and beneficial and something that one needs to study and practice, and due to that many great masters later emerged in Tibet also.
네. 그때 그다음에 타파랑 로드 타이파랑 베지 남된다. 배반인가 베지 남된다 미누바인자 무르는 것이 다 지금 베지 남된다. 다른 친구인자 좀 가지마선 방금 무르는 것이 다시 뜻에 직대인데.
So Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye, he first began this text by saying, I take refuge in Padmasambhava, and Rinpoche feels this is because of that, because Padmasambhava Guru Rinpoche was responsible for introducing the Buddhism to Tibet.
Yeah. And in Bade, wrote the Korangi Ramana Karisumas, Consigli di cuore. And Guru Rinpoche 안전나 고연데가 가와로 빼지기 요소.
And then the second reason might be what Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye himself said in his autobiography. He said that when he was a small child, whenever he heard the name of Padmasambhava, he would feel very happy.
근데 이거를 이렇게 주바. 근데 수도 빼만 이제 근데 라마지 요래 충격가 들고 근데 아마 가와래 나지 제고사래 근데 충격가서 빼 레비 요소.
So also while he was still a small child, he heard that there was an emanation of Guru Rinpoche, who was the ninth Taisitu Pemanimji, and when he heard that, he really felt, oh, who is this master? I have to go. Where is he living? I have to go and find this master.
근데 일단 딱 중국가서 물을 제가 대봐요같이 우리 실수인한테 다 배나 물을 붙이다 되게 되니 뭐 린젠텐도 있어요. 보드 하나 붙이세요. 그때 공기 줄이 제가.
So since he had lots of devotion for Guru Rinpoche since being a small child, then later he came to compose the Rinchen Terzo, which is the treasury of all Guru Rinpoche's dharmas, which is about 60 volumes of texts.
공기 로
compiled. It took him 47 years to compile the entire Rinchen Terzo.
그때 이제는 이건 불러라. 그들은 이제 새로운 좀 나와. 이제 나와 좀 뭐라 그래.
And this treasury of dharmas, or Rinchen Terzo, was given by Situ Rinpoche in Cherabling in 2006, which we received, and it took about 6 months to receive all the empowerments and written transmissions and everything. So that is the main reason why he begins by saying, I take refuge in Padmasambhava.
today insan tadi Lodrö Thaye Korangi choni de ba.
So this is written by Lodrö Thaye from his own site. I take refuge in Padmasambhava.
다 나서긴 나랑서 랑긴 문이 이거를 때마다 제시해서 다 지나야고.
So it is also good if we write this from our own ourselves also. If we feel like this.
인사다 어떻게 지나 말해. 그래서
Yeah, so we should write.
Yeah. Okay. Sitting condition then, right?
we can recite the 7-line prayer to Guru Rinpoche.
근데 갑자기 자네는 하면서 이만이 주디셔와 주디셔기 이 단디기 단다디 야고지 하고야 수수 셈을 펜바 쇼로 상대도니 이 조금 좋아하냐고 답변에 오늘 또 무슨 거예요?
So we can supplicate Guru Rinpoche that may this teaching that we received over these 2 days may it really benefit our mind. So we recite the 7-line prayer with this in mind, those of you who have it. And then the second line says, O Kaju Gurus, please grant your blessings.
네, 저는 말하자면 우리 라만님들 요와 대지 대신되나 우리가 좀 다음 소소들로 돼 출연도에는 진실라고 슈스.
So for this we can recite the according to Guru heart prayer, and while reciting it we can meditate on requesting the blessings. May the Guru's blessings enter our hearts. Some of you know, right? According to Guru.
Yeah. 지단기 단나랑도 추는 렌치를 값소 가족이 되는 영화다 알레 디자도스 들어가서 집에 있는 소소 생각 아니야 펜토요 말와.
So in general, whenever we practice Dharma or whenever we study the Dharma, it is not very beneficial just to think, oh, this and this is written in this book like this. So it's not beneficial to think of it in that way.
소소한 게 뭐니? 파는 요가나 소소한 게 뭐니? 되는 제가 있는 소소가 되는 펜토요.
But what will benefit us is if we think that whatever is written in the book, if we ourselves contemplate on this, if we ourselves come to this conclusion. So if we do not, for example, like we did here, we recited the 7-line prayers of Padmasambhava and requested for Padmasambhava's blessings to that, and we recited calling the Guru from afar while contemplating on requesting the Gurus to grant us their blessings. So if we do not do it in this way, then we just read, I take refuge in Padmasambhava, or Kaviju Gurus, please grant your blessings. So it becomes just dry words. And that's why Rinpoche feels that by doing this contemplation and recitation, it has surely benefited all of us. So then the next two lines in the text which say, please turn the minds of faithful ones towards the Dharma. May we embrace the path of liberation beyond return. So this explains kind of the purpose why he composed this text. So the main purpose of us studying this text is also for our minds to turn towards the Dharma and for us to progress on the path to liberation. And then the next 4 lines after this, they represent a kind of summary of the entire text which follows. So in this reads, Atisha, the protector of the snowland, said, among many, examine your speech. When you stay alone, examine your mind. Briefly, he taught these 2 points. So here, there are many people here, right? So the first line, which says, among many, examine your speech. This is not so relevant right now. It's more relevant for Rinpoche. So we don't need to worry about this now. Then the second was is when you are alone, examine your mind. So now we're not alone. So it's better to change the words a little bit. So maybe we should say, among many, examine your mind. So for all of us, what is relevant right now is among many, examine your mind. And for him, what is relevant is among many, examine your speech. So be really careful with what you say.
Yes.
Just joking. So actually what is the most important for us is to examine our mind. But in one way, if we like the way we're used to examining everybody else, you know, like what is this person doing, where is he going, where are they going, what are they eating, what are they saying, like this. If we just turn this inwards and start to look at our mind in that way, it will become a little bit difficult. So this is not what it means, to examine your mind. We shouldn't do like that. But for example, when our mind is very happy, when everything is going well, if we look at our mind at that time, so if we look at our mind on such an occasion, then we will know what it means looking at the mind. So first we just sit and relax for a while.
그러면서 명빈 말았다 손으로
So it is said among many, examine your speech.
그래서 다 세미나 가리 되는 거로 세미나랑 계획이 시시 가리 되는 건데 마비 왔어요. 다 같이 계획 시험을 세미나 계획 시험이나
So we can try whatever comes to our mind. We do not say it with our mouth, but just we let our mind say whatever it likes to say. We do not try to control our mind. We just allow it to talk.
다 이제 가리시나 하고 tempo 열어봐.
So were you able to be aware of what your mind is saying?
이제 가리시나.
What did it say?
뒤인다. 닭이 대단 봐. 아따비냐 치번 왜?
So what is the difference between before when you were just resting and now when you were observing your mind talking? Is there a difference or not?
The awareness was different.
Which one is better? The first one or second one?
Second for me.
Second yada to what? Very. Get a share yada to what? Very. Second one better, right?
Yes.
Second one better. Oh, I see.
Maybe wrong question.
오늘 가르치는 것도 이해리고 그냥 데뷔가 best friend 하고요. 나는 second.
Second is like our mind is like the best friend with whom we have been together for a long time.
이제 이 뭐시바 땅에서 뭐시바 사바지 냠도 봐. 그래서 까마치 대바다는 무슨 임바 best friend 냠 대바 이거 수지 저 가리 better 도란 딴거 보러
So if we spend 1 minute with a new acquaintance, like during the first meditation, and 1 minute with our old acquaintance, then which one is nicer, the second one? Because we are more used to it.
네.
It was beneficial for him to hear our answer.
그래서 나 guest 제가 딱딱 오다시라도
Yeah, that was the other.
네.
He would guess is the opposite, that it was nicer the first meditation.
나한테는 수수기 당고대 야가도 라기래 수문에
That he was sure that you would answer the first one was better.
문에 에이 나 앞에 평고 좀 준다.
It's beneficial for him to see this.
증이 라기래서 정말한 게 양념이 되게 말이죠. 그래서 미망아 지금 받아
Yeah, he said he just felt that that's how it would be. But yeah.
근데 내가 다 나중에 나서 나중에 나서 칸은 깨져 마셔 제가 쌤은 깨지기도 이때 펜도 친구였다.
But here we did not speak everything that came to our mind with our mouths. We just allowed our minds to say it. So it says this. It's very beneficial to do this.
그래서 남들이 나서 쌤은 가르쳐 시작이 가르쳐 something 유미. 아주 내가 하고 좀 맞아. 때 친구 말 받아들이 가능한 노 성에서 막 슈터봉 로토 말.
Because what usually happens is that we are not very aware of what's going on in our mind, what our mind is saying. Sometimes some big kind of important things we notice, but the undercurrent of our mind talking all the time, we don't even notice.
나중에 나서 쌤은 나서 한 깨지 시기 요요한 시에들 봐. 쌤은 깨지 시에들 봐. 시에들이 자기들이 차디가서 깎아 쌤은 깎아하고 쌤은 가르치는 그래서는 간시에 여가 수수쌤을 열어봐. 쌤은 가르치는 얘는 쌤은 가르쳐야 상만 하거든.
But now when we did this practice like in this way, after we were able to know exactly what our mind is saying. Every moment our mind is talking.
이제 제일 가서 나서를 뺀주죠 가르치는 수쌤은 가르치는 게 유명해. 가르치는 게 유명해. 일단 하고 옵니다.
Our biggest fault is sometimes that we have no awareness of what our mind is doing, what we are talking in our mind. So it is good to be aware of what our mind is saying. It's beneficial to observe that. So in the future this becomes important that even the things we don't say with our mouth, that we have some awareness of what our mind is doing.
나서 다 나서 나도 준비 다 같이 하잖아. 내가 지금 내가 얘만들 정말 디시에다 지금.
So this is pretty much what Rinpoche wanted to share for this morning session, and we will continue this afternoon. And if you have any questions, we have a little bit of time left.
Come discussion chair na matching ko main dawa na nabi channel privat number yan or yan picture your dictate yan.
So it's not necessarily just a question and answer. It can be also a discussion. He can also ask us a question, or we can ask him questions, and we can share opinions.
이만 나도 되는 건 이제 섭시다. 나서 돈이 이거 뺀 돈이 주고 싶은 제 말이야.
So if you remember, so 2024 we had a big discussion about emptiness.
Right?
We all share our experience, right?
If I can share something, is about some days ago I woke up in the middle of the night, and I understand quite immediately that my mind was talking in really a very serious way, and I remained awake for I think more or less 2 hours, and for 2 hours I was a little bit struggling because I was really overwhelmed about this continuous talking, blah blah, of my mind. And I thought that I know that I have to be aware, but it's exhausting. It's completely exhausting. In the morning I was really knocked out because I understood that my mind is. She never. I said, please shut up a little bit. I am a little out of order. It's incredible how much a mind can speak of nothing.
맞죠?
시에와 네.
그걸 가슴을 나는 얘기입니다.
아 네.
그래서 저걸 가래 가래가로
아 네.
그래서 저기 세 드뉴도 그저 저는 샤마토를
네,
그랬어.
네.
가슴을 나는 되게 그랬어.
네. 네. 다들 소소 감시와
Yeah, so this is a habit.
다게 숨지 말려면 나라에 다시 중요하다.
Before coming to this, coming up for the teachings, Rinpoche also experienced something like this.
이네. 다시 제는 공부만 좀 할때 시에.
So please don't be upset if he shares this.
다게 나같이 주단 까마 껴마도 있어요. 껴마도 그래.
About 10, 15.
I think so. Yeah. 근데 때문에 가방은 그지 고지가 고지 시야고 좋통.
So he saw one very nice Tibetan song.
근데 나도 근데 지금은 기타 배가 있다고 그지를 가면 돼요, 봐. 네.
Since he is Tibetan, then he, of course, he is accustomed to Tibetan songs. He has heard a lot.
다기 시지도 시 땅의 시집도 나 추동 가서 배팅이.
And this is a song which he listened to a lot when he was a child.
근데 다기한테 통화를 나 배팅이.
So when he saw that, then he was listening to the song.
네. 됐다. 그래서 제가 다들 나한테 컨트롤 좀 맡으면서 봐. 제가 나한테 걸려서.
And it was not enough just for him to listen, to watch this video and listen to the song. He had to share with somebody, so he came to my room.
생일 제가 된 거야.
Like he showed it to me also.
네. 그러나 참여에 야구 차기도 와. 참여에 야구 차기도.
So the person who was dancing to this song was also dancing very nicely.
네. 나도 차도 시험 말이야. 네.
He doesn't know how to dance, but
이나야 다 배가워요.
he likes dancing.
근데 나야 제스 공부니 내내 제스 막.
He was also doing good.
네. 제스요.
Did you see it?
그냥한테 너무 그냥 다 숨지 노래도 좋아 숨지
And then he remembered, oh, it's time to go for the teaching.
이내 나도 나한테 따세요 뭐네.
But he wanted to keep looking at this video.
근데 제가 나도 제시하고 내려 봐. 네.
And he stayed a little bit longer in my room.
그냥 뒤에서 선도들이 요거 봐 줘다 이 가버리 파샤 봐.
And then he says, oh yeah, now it's time to go. So he went back to his room and switched off the phone.
네. 저기 가르치나 나랑 나한테 감시 친구예요, 봐.
So this is also because of habit. He has a very strong habit of enjoying the songs.
이제 컨트롤 집에 내려옵니다, 봐.
So it's not easy to control.
근데 지나다 나 숨지 노래에 다리 제고요래. 신발을 대고요.
Actually, it was time for him to prepare for the teachings, to relax his mind, to just sit quietly.
이나야. 근데 감시기 다 컨트롤 집 맞은 소리도 봐. 네.
But due to this habit, he was not able to control his mind.
근데 소소 감시기 소소 집고 그 땅에 제가 많이 말아. 야 미신발이야 배대야. 뒤로 제보는 책이라 감시제 표시친 거라. 네.
So habits are very strong. Habit is not something which only makes us do something. It also makes us wish to share it with others, to make others do the same.
대박이 무엇이 들어가야 되죠? 미신발 되게 미신 딸이만 이들아 시에 제자해.
So all this the Tibetan gorge songs and dances, he doesn't care whether people like it or not. He will share it.
니 시에 찍어 봐. 시에 찍어 봐. 니 책이 모델 시에 찍어 봐.
So he's very lucky because
When is idea?
he can share with me and I can share with Vita or somebody else.
이나야. 고등이 지금 많이 가고도 와.
He's lucky because we like them. 네.
대인자 감시세대 Nima children you want to
So habit is something which we cannot just change in one day.
Then the pena so the Consigli di cuore che canca già da geo canca già da gete then the lera ci ni this dogo mare e ma do tena oma a un bezan per ma se tadin de letto mara letto mara
So habit it is like, you know, this mala, if we want to complete a circle of 108, we have to go one by one. We have to cross each beat, right? We cannot recite the mantra one time and arrive at the end of the mala, right?
Oma ne be hu na ni ora di lavada todo mara già
Yeah, we cannot say Om Mani Padme Hum and end up on the last beat, right?
Yeah. Then they also really calmly take the kitchen inside the computer computer home nine da. So they can this new Tangaina. You might take a computer someone and you are
so if we have like a bad habit, for example, then we have to transform it little by little, like just a little bit each time a little bit less. We can diminish it a little bit each time, and by the time we repeat this habit 100 times, it will be gone. But we cannot just get rid of it in one go. So even for him it is difficult to transform some habits. One example is eating a lot. And eating fast. Many people are telling you, don't eat too fast, it's not good for you, it's not good for your health. But he's not able to transform this habit, to stop this habit of eating too quickly.
Hima ne kadam bagi master to suwal ne khozum ne do yorwa do napo buruchisha do kapo buruchisha wa ele kan kuzo ni shopen ni onda ma ni ma ale ta teri simba tes ngi cho yorwa ta ngi cho yorwa te ka se chungya sen ni ya bi la bido to kapo cho ka se chungya sti ya kapo do kapo de cha ka ko ni monyo ka de cha do ta ti ta ge la do 이 단지다에서 이거부터 무슨 우리 나고 줄때스다 내리는 줄때스 많아 이거가 근데 또 특인데 이 많아 자도다 드링 그 산인 자리도 드링 베이스 나고데 많아요나 나고데 때는 좀 여비나 나고 좀지 까고나 여비나 드링 산인 보도 가지고 산인나 가고 주소기 나고요 주소기 내가 근데 지겠어 네.
So the past Kadampa masters, they were known for doing one practice. So they had two piles of small pebbles in front of them. One was white pebbles and the other pile was black pebbles. So at the end of each day, they would kind of count how many the black pebbles would represent all the negative thoughts and actions, and the white pebbles the positive thoughts and actions. So at the end of the day, they would count how many positive and negative thoughts and actions they had. And usually what this shows is that when we start to do something like this, we will have more negative thoughts than positive ones, because our negative habits are very strong. But then, for example, what they would do is, at the end of the day, if they would have like 6 black pebbles and 5 white pebbles, they would they would say, okay, tomorrow I will try to have 6 of each. So they would transform their habits step by step, not by saying tomorrow there will be no black pebbles and only white ones, but at least we have equal. So these were great realized masters, but even for them, they gave the example that we have to transform these habits step by step. They did not say, okay, from today onwards I will only have positive thoughts. Even for them, it was not possible to do like that. So of course for us it's also not.
Great. 근데 이제 통화가 지금 좀 같이 모델이 통화방이 있네요. 뭐다 갖고도 참 우마지로 갖고도 참망이 지금 나고도 참만데라 내가 소리에서 내는 대인자나 이 가래를 쓰네. 무슨 니 참마 찍바인 거다. 그가 감시 그냥 제가 당 보지는 당장 참마 찍바인 거 그때요 봐.
So what this shows is because they did not say, okay, I will transform my habit tomorrow, so tomorrow I will only have white positive thoughts, white pebbles. This shows, one thing it shows is that we are all the same, that we all have the same problem, and that we all have to work step by step to solve it.
근데 이제 나는 참 감시 이제와 당 두고 매도 생축 시작이라고
So it also shows that, for example, for him, sometimes he gets discouraged because he is unable to change his habits. But it also shows that we should not get discouraged, but keep working on it. He still has the wish to eat less. He didn't get discouraged yet, so he has not given up on the idea of eating less. So now he wishes all of you to eat a lot.
That's what I think that they share enough.
That's it for this morning. We can do the meditation together. Slovenian page 22.